Bell Time by Sophie Tuvey, Chapter 25. I follow Katie's instructions and stay with Dad. It's actually kind of nice. I've been living in the flat long enough to have forgotten what it's like to be in a house with a garden, and instead of annoying me, Dad's actually really sweet. Not much conversation, and we avoid talking about Mum, but then I've got a lot to get on with anyway. Here's my plan to save the world. Write kick-ass lesson plans and an amazing book. My reward for each lesson plan is to work on one chapter. By the time it's Friday, I've done the plans and I've worked through a decent chunk of my story. Not bad. I get a text from Michael saying he's been roped into the Duke of Edinburgh expedition because someone flaked out, but then hear nothing for several days. He surely can't have gone totally off-grid. I keep picking up my phone to start typing a new message to him, but what exactly do I say? Hi, are we still together? The radio silence is killing me, but Katie tells me not to crack. This is the test to see if he's really interested in me. It's no good if you're the one chasing him, she says on the phone. The irony, given his name. Take a break and give him time to think. You'll definitely be seeing him on Monday anyway. If he doesn't contact me by then, I may see him, but I will not be speaking to him. Is it all just in my head? When we were together, it felt so right. He was warm and kind and less like a robot, more like a human being. I felt that he really cared about me. When we kissed, he seemed to feel a spark too. But why hasn't he called? Silence from a boy is never a good thing. What if David told him that he isn't allowed to see me? I suggest to Katie. He can't do that, she replies. If Michael allows David to have control over his life like that, then that's a problem. His problem, not yours. He just seems totally in David's power all the time. Well, maybe he should go out with him instead then. Ha ha, not funny. If he's letting his boss dictate his love life, then he's just not worth it, Jen. What am I supposed to do about working with him? I pushed my hair back from my forehead. You didn't seem to have any problem working with him and hating him at the same time before all this stuff happened, Katie points out. True, but it's not just going to be a normal week next week. It's inspection followed by interviews. The thought of it turns my blood cold in my veins. Look, as hard as it is, you've got to separate the work stuff from the Michael thing, Katie instructs. Teach your lessons, do the interview. Whether you're still dating him or not, it shouldn't affect what you do. Maybe not what I do, but I can't switch off how I feel, I moan. You're going to have to, Katie says plainly, or you'll be a total nutcase. Always count on your younger sister to give you the truth that hurts. When Dad and I arrive at the station, it's such a relief to see her with her bags. Even if her advice is brutal, she's still my sister, and she's come for me. We celebrate with a takeaway, all three of us at Dad's, and then he drives us back to my flat. I feel nervous butterflies going back there again, but at least I'm not on my own. Time to watch a rubbish movie, Katie says, settling into the sofa. I unpack my bag and start sorting out my clothes. I'm definitely glad to be back home with my own wardrobe again. I start making a laundry pile when my phone buzzes. Michael. Sorry I haven't been in touch. Are you okay? I stare at the screen as excitement, anticipation, then anger pulse through me. No, I'm not okay. You went off to play golf and never came back. This is the first text you've sent me in days, but before you dropped me home, everything was great between us. Were you lying? Were you just pretending? How am I supposed to answer this text now? I sigh and jab a reply. Me. Still alive. Michael. I thought you might need some space before next week. Seriously? This was all for my benefit? Me. Why? No instant response. Why does a minute feel like an hour while I'm waiting for his reply? In a sort of superstition, I lay the phone down and turn away from it to sort more clothes, thinking that if I watch it, a message won't arrive. My phone buzzes again. Michael. Some things David said gave me a lot to think about. I type quickly. Me. So you needed the space, not me. Don't try to fob me off, Michael Chase. Michael. Yes, sorry. Stop saying that! I realise I've said it out loud as Katie calls over. What? Not you, I call. Michael texted. She leaps over the sofa to read the messages. It's all very cryptic, she says, handing my phone back. What do you think he means? I have no idea. What are you going to do? I don't want to ditch you when you've come all this way to stay over, I say. I'm not calling him. He can speak to me in school if he wants to. Good for you. Now, where's the chocolate? It's great having Katie around. I don't feel freaked out in my flat anymore, and we have some fun time with Dad too. We even get him out of the house for a walk before we have to drop her off at the station. Thanks so much for coming. I squeeze her tightly. It was good to see you, she says. Next week you'll be fantastic. But Jen? Yeah? Whatever happens with this job, you need to know that you're a great teacher. Don't let what that head guy says get to you. Thanks. I feel slightly sick at the thought that it's Monday tomorrow. When my alarm goes off, I dress myself in the new outfit Katie picked out. No pineapple shirts in sight. I'm wearing a black A-line skirt, a white shirt with black polka dots, and a necktie. Strictly professional. I smooth my hair back with gel into a ponytail and push aside memories of styling my hair for my date with Michael. That seems like a long time ago now. I click my way along the street to work, in my court shoes, and it's early enough that barely any cars are in the car park. I see Michael straight away. I ignore the jarring sensation in my stomach and head straight for my classroom. I've got a rainforest's worth of handouts to print. Mental note, need to raise the paperless issue again with the ECA committee, and I want to be first in line with the photocopier. Once my laptop has finally whirred into life and I've sent all the documents to the printer, I grab my ID card and make my way to the copy room. I start the first batch running, then hurry to the kitchen for my first fix of caffeine. As I burst through the door, I see Michael and stop dead. He turns around, interrupted from messing with his coffee machine. Jen, he says. His voice sounds quiet and sad. It makes me want to cry, but that would make my eyeliner run, so I march over to start making my tea. I'm so cross with him that I pinch someone else's mug and tea bags because I'm too angry to walk over to the staff room cupboard to get my own. Plus, it would be the mug from him. I want to hear what he has to say, if he has anything to say at all. How are you? He tries. I ignore him. Are you mad at me? Well done, Sherlock. Say something. I'm too cross to speak to you. I slam the fridge door. Look, maybe when this is all over, we can talk properly. Do you mean when this inspection is over, or the interviews? He looks confused. Both? So you just want to press pause on everything, go through the next week, and then we can have a conversation? You must be really emotionally barren if you're actually suggesting that. And I thought he might have been a Heathcliff. How wrong I was. I know it's not ideal. Ha! I snort, clanging my spoon around my cup. Look, Jen, this is hard for me too. He lowers his voice, even though no one else is around. I miss you. Well, I'm here in front of you, I say, grabbing my mug with as much dignity as I can muster. If you don't want to do anything about it, then I'm afraid that's your problem. He opens his mouth, but no words come out. I don't know why everything's changed. I feel the choking sensation of tears at the back of my throat, and I swallow hard and walk back to the copy room. When I get there, the machine's red light is flashing. Oh no! Michael rushes in after me. What's the matter? I read the screen. It's a paper misfeed. I throw my hands up in despair. Everyone knows they're a nightmare. You have to follow the step-by-step instruction diagrams, which are as helpful as IKEA's wordless pictures. I get it wrong every time. Don't worry, I'll sort it. Michael bustles about at the machine, opening it up and turning levers I didn't know existed. I stand there sipping my tea, still feeling in a huff, but if he manages to fix this, then I ought to be grateful. He pulls out a crumpled sheet, then the red light goes off. There you go. Thank you, I say begrudgingly. I think he's going to say something else, But then Jeff comes in. "Ah, been looking for you two," he says, seemingly oblivious to our awkward looks. "Inspection week. I'm calling a briefing meeting with some details to pass on to you. My room in 10 minutes. As I sit with my tea, my notepad open in front of me, I reflect that this is the most prepared I've ever been for the lessons immediately after a half term. I have my lesson plans, my seating plans, my handouts, all sorted. My room is reasonably tidy. All in all, things could be worse. My timetable for today is actually quite good. No Tyler, and I've got top set year 9 and my mentor group. The head wanted me to remind you that you could be observed at any point, Jeff says, although I am aware that he has a meeting at 10, so he will not be available for second lesson. That doesn't mean that the visitors from Inspire won't still be coming around, Michael points out. True, Jeff says. They may be likely to conduct learning walks where they only attend for 15 minutes of a lesson. Judy rolls her eyes. Please don't be stressed, Jeff says. Really? What are they going to do? Fire me? Judy jokes as we gather our things ready for registration. I'll be retired soon anyway. The thought makes me more glum. Jeff siphoned off into senior management. Liz fallen down a black hole. Never thought I'd mourn the loss of her. Judy probably off to the Bahamas, and just me and Michael left to try and scrape enough C grades to lift Widlock County out of the extinction zone. The bell sounds, and it's time to begin. My Year 9 class is an absolute joy. They are just what every class should be like. Keen, motivated, able to work together with focus. We are annotating a Wilfred Owen poem, and it lifts me up out of the anxiety of the inspection, hearing their ideas and interpretations. No one comes in, which is disappointing, but I know that they all enjoy the lesson, and I sit down afterwards in satisfaction. My mentor group is also lovely, in such a different way. The pace is a lot slower, and they need a lot more support, but as I watch them try their hardest at each task, I feel my heart swell up with pride for how far they've come since last year, where every sentence was a struggle. Now they are reading out loud to each other, which they would never have done 6 months ago. Again, no one comes in, but it's so good to be totally absorbed and not have to think about Michael. By the time it's lunch, I've almost forgotten about him being completely emotionally incompetent and a jerk, and I sit next to Steph ready to tuck into my healthy wrap and carrot sticks. Eat better, feel better. That's Katie's mantra anyway. So come on then, Steph says in a confidential tone, expectantly. What? I take a huge bite. What's going on with you and Robot Guy? Oh. I chew for a moment to buy time. End of term drinks, you arrived together, then you snuck out and got a bus home, then he picked you up. I lost track of what was happening. You were also drinking cocktails. True, Steph admits. So, are you two together? I sigh. I thought so, but I don't think so now. I tell her that he wants us to have space while the mini inspection and interviews take place. You're both still going for the same promotion? She asks, eyebrows raised. Do you think I should pull out? She doesn't answer with an immediate no, which surprises me. Jen, do you actually want the job? I stare at her. That's a stupid question. No, it's not. Do you really want to be head of English? I feel like I've been tackled by one of my own team. Why are you asking me that? I ask, trying to buy time. It's just, you came back in September, you'd been writing, you were all excited about it. You were happy with your job as it was. Since Michael came on the scene, you've been in some kind of war with him, and it feels like this promotion is all wrapped up with that. You don't think I can do it? You don't think I'm good enough? It's like a touch paper to all my old insecurities. I never said that. I just wanted to ask if you want to be a HOD, because if you do get it, you're not going to have much time for the things you care about, like your writing. My writing is a hobby. It's never earned me any money, I remind her. I can't pass up this opportunity to move up the ladder, up the pay scale. Plus, I can use the extra money to fund my book and get it out into the world. Although, as I say it, I think back to David's offer of the ALNCO position. That would involve a pay rise too. but I don't even know if that offer still stands, or if it would be ethical to take him up on it. What's the point in getting more money if you never have time to spend it? Steph points out, stirring her yogurt with a teaspoon. Before I can reply with something smart about saving to buy my own place, Michael strides in and stands at the other end of the table. He looks at me, but doesn't say anything for a moment. Then he inclines his head towards the kitchen. Can I have a word? He sounds like a head of year hauling a naughty kid out of a lesson. I look at Steph, who shrugs, then reluctantly leave my lunchbox and follow him into the kitchen. Thankfully, no one else is in there. We stand a few feet apart, waiting for the other to close the distance. Neither of us does. How are you? He asks. The competing, the games, the theatre trip swirl between us like a tornado. I'm sorry, he says. He knows it's not enough. Done with staring him out, I look for a distraction and put the kettle on. I set about making a cup of tea. Sue comes in and retrieves her lunchbox from the fridge, and thankfully doesn't try to do small talk. Once she's gone, I try to reach past Michael to get the milk, and he takes hold of my arm. Don't try and manipulate me, Michael. I shake him off. I'm just trying to be there for you. Be there for me, I scoff as I slam the fridge door. Why do we always argue in this narrow kitchen with a wonky drawer full of missing cutlery and dirty plates that never make it back to the canteen? I was waiting for you to be there for me last week, but you never came back from golf with David, and then you signed up for a Duke of Edinburgh expedition. I'm sorry, he says, but he looks away. You're not sorry, I say, measuring his expression. You'd do it again today if you had to. His eyes move to meet mine. He doesn't deny it. You said yourself that we wouldn't be able to be together in school. I don't think we really thought through what would happen. He speaks in an annoyingly measured tone. I didn't want the whole school to know about us, I begin, but I didn't think you would just stop talking to me, and then suddenly I don't know where I am with you anymore. I'm trying to do what's best for you. That's the most infuriating thing anyone can say. How does it benefit me for you to stay away from me and stop talking to me with no explanation? When all this is over, I'll be able to explain why you got the job and I didn't, I interrupt. Don't be like that, Jen. His eyes are searching mine, pleading with me to understand, but I'm tired of being buffeted about. I don't have time for this, I say, then head back to sit with Steph. He looks miserable, she comments. He seems pretty good at engineering his own misery, I comment acidly, biting at my carrot sticks and trying to look as though they taste better than cardboard. Aren't you going to make it up with him? She asks. I shake my head. He just wants me to withdraw from applying for the job so he can get it uncontested, and I'm not doing it. Are you sure this is about the job? What else can it possibly be about? Steph sighs. I've said it before, Jen, but I hope you know what you're doing.